Antisocial behaviour. It's a term many immediately associate with young people. Lindsay McDade from Fearless explains why this isn't helpful.
The vast majority of young people don't commit antisocial behaviour. They're just going about their lives in a very similar way to how we adults did at their age. But with the added pressure of social media and 24/7 almost continually negative news.
So, what is antisocial behaviour? Scott is from Police Scotland. He's the schools officer in Tayside.
Yeah, antisocial behaviour is a few things. We speak about vandalism, so people breaking things, hanging about in street corners and stopping folk going into shops, maybe fires. Could also go to things like neighbours falling out, if we get neighbourhood disputes, folk falling out in their houses. But mostly things that happen outdoors that's going to cause somebody maybe problems.
Scott is very keen to change public opinion.
Issues a young person may encounter are something that's not resolved easily. It's not about hanging about in street corners, it's about something else in the background that we need to work with. We don't all go around breaking bottles and smashing windows, we don't all do that one, so I want to say, well, why is something different here? Scott
may be a police officer, but he knows a heavy-handed approach can be ineffective.
And it's not just about the police, that's the really important thing. If I can make it policey, then it's not going to be effective. It has to be around the partners that we use as well. So I work social work, kind of work with loads of charitable organisations to try and make it better.
He prefers to support and intervene with the help of social work and charities.
I'm Cheyenne. I am from PSYV, the Police Scotland Youth Volunteers from Dundee West. People see us and they're kind of like, oh wow, I think I could do that as well, which I think is quite lovely.
Hi, I'm Adam Cameron. I'm a Police Scotland Youth Volunteer.
Police Scotland Youth Volunteers are providing a groundbreaking link between officers and young people.
As you go through school, a lot of people are like, oh, the police, stay away from them. It's like they're enemies to you, but they're actually there to help and look after you, make sure everyone's safe.
Adam is one of the many Police Scotland Youth Volunteers. Lola, Brooklyn and Cheyenne are some of the others helping to remove the stigma.
Young people are definitely more of a target. During lunchtimes, and even in my school when we go out for lunch, there's a ban for it. Literally is like 2 kids in the shop at once, but adults can just come and go as they please. And you're walking in, it's quite a big shop, they've got quite a lot of store people walking around, but they're only following school kids.
I feel like it is a bit of a shame, as like most of the time I do think that young people are really horribly stereotyped for like things that like some groups do. It is a problem. Like some people do, like they do cause problems for their communities, but I would say for the majority of young people, we're just trying to like get on and find what we enjoy and like just get through high school pretty much.
I can't go out with a group of friends on like just say a Friday night, to go shopping and stuff, because you've got, for example, older people that are staring at you like, oh, they're out to cause problems. Just even walking through the street, like having people, looking at you like, oh no, they're definitely about to go down and like smash the local shops, when in reality you're literally just walking to go get a chippy. It's not a good feeling.
Broughty Ferry Beach, we can go sit down there, but then there's always people, the ones that are posted on Facebook, who'll like take photos, and you get funny stares when you're walking through when you're in a big group. People expect you to be doing something you shouldn't be, and it's sort of the pressure. You sort of judge yourself like, should I be doing this? And it kind of discourages you to even go out. Teens my age probably stay home and sit on their phones, which people complain about, so there's no middle ground. You can't win.
I think most people genuinely care. It could be anything small, from like helping a teacher with something to something big like volunteering in a hospital ward. Most people that I know are going out, helping, volunteering, helping at local charities and stuff like that. And it's, like I said, it's that small minority of people that are ruining it for everyone. I just feel like older people are only seeing like the negative news of what's happening and not really seeing the good.
I think social media is a definite, really portrays them really badly. There's a lot of young people who get on the buses with their bus passes and they go down to the beach, and maybe there's some underage drinking with alcohol and things. But as soon as that hits social media, there's always like one story, maybe like one group's done it, and that's it. Like everyone wanting to get rid of the bus passes. Everyone gets tarnished with the same brush, and it's just not fair. Social media really, how am I supposed to go out with my friends? Not all of us can afford to get buses back and forward all the time, and it's expensive to go out places near us where go to the cinema. Not everyone can afford things like that.
As soon as one bad thing happens, it puts a negative aspect on everyone else. When it's not actually everyone else, it's just that small percentage of people.
I was young once, and just because you're hanging about with your mates in the park, that's what parks are for. The main thing I think about is if someone has been bothered by it and it's affecting their life, then it becomes antisocial behaviour. But if it's just somebody socialising in a street corner, seeing it a day when it's sunny and there's folk hanging about in street corners, I've got no issues with that, and I'm quite happy to say that's what we do as human beings. We shouldn't be penalising anybody for doing something that's normal. But if it's going to affect somebody's life or a shop, then that's when the police will probably get involved a bit more.
Hello, my name's Brooklyn. I'm a member of the Police Scotland Youth Volunteers. I work in a local trampoline park for Dundee, and antisocial behaviour, especially on like a Friday, Saturday night, kids about 12 to 15ish, their attitude, they're coming in with attitude, they're coming in, setting the fire alarm off and stuff, setting fire to like the fields outside, you know, having like, you're speaking to police and community wardens constantly because you've got like a group of kids outside threatening to go and hit a person that's just in there trying to enjoy themselves with their family.
Nobody here is denying that antisocial behaviour happens. Brooklyn has often had to deal with the minority that want to cause trouble.
During the week, during a day shift, I love my job, but it gets to the point where you're like, oh no, I'm working a Friday night or I'm working a Saturday night. It gets to the point where you don't want to work because you could be faced with someone shouting in your face. You could be faced with stuff that you really wouldn't want to be faced with.
As Police Scotland Youth Volunteers, Brooklyn and others have been able to learn why antisocial behaviour happens.
Especially in school, it's all about popularity, and the way to get popular is to cause trouble.
I think a lot of antisocial behaviour can be due to like boredom.
COVID has played a part in like people's behaviour. I've definitely become more introverted. We're still learning now, even though it's been like about a year since COVID has ended.
Our volunteers have looked into the problems leading to antisocial behaviour. What are they thinking in terms of solutions?
After COVID, it's been a lot worse, but I think we need to start opening up like community centres again, or having activities, you know, like pop-up activities that pop up every once in a while in these specific areas to try tackle that so people have got stuff to do and they're then not taking their boredom out on everyone else.
Who you hang out with is really important. It impacts you. And so I think at the end of the day, you need to have good people around you.
People ignore a lot of the good things younger people do.
It would be nice to open up the local newspaper and see like youth doing like a lot of charity work instead of someone that's went and smashed up a building. We definitely need to shine more light on the positive behaviour than the negative, because if you think of like an elderly person that's only seeing stuff like newspapers and it's not got access to social media and stuff, that's all they're seeing is the bad and not the good, which is not very good for them to see and then have to walk out on their own and be scared when there's nothing to be scared about.
And I think it would be helpful if they did have a better connection with the police and actually spoke to them from a younger age. You don't really learn anything until you get into high school, and primary school you don't really hear much.
As Police Scotland's schools officer for Tayside, Scott likes to come across as approachable.
I never give anything other than my first name. It's Scott all the time. Although I've got police on my shoulder, it's Scott, and I'm a human being and a father, as I keep saying it all the time. If we don't have that relationship, then I'm not going to say we're going to get ignored by everybody, but it's going to be more difficult for us to do anything with it. I ultimately keep saying to young folk, I'm there to help. I want to make sure I can do something which is going to make your life better, because I have a reasonable amount of power, and I don't like the word power, but in a small p, where I can go to somebody who can help.
So for me, the typical ASB finger wagging, don't do this or that type messaging isn't particularly effective or helpful. Instead, it's about explaining the impact of antisocial behaviour, including on young people themselves, and helping them to consider the positive steps that they can take to demonstrate pro-social behaviour instead.
Support and intervention is always the preferred approach to challenging antisocial behaviour. It's also vital that attitudes change across all generations.
People who do phone the police on like children in their neighbourhood, just to kind of think before you do that, just kind of be like, well, would I have done this when I was younger? This is something that me and my friends would have been caught doing. Like, would me and my pals been doing like a lot worse when we were younger? And just not thinking that all young people fall under the same umbrella, because we really don't. A lot of us do just want to go out and get on and like enjoy our lives while we're still young and like don't have to worry about like money and like work.
Well, if you see them there a lot, there's nothing stopping you from speaking to them and seeing what they're like themselves. Just welcome them try and have a conversation with them, actually get to know them.
People are going to assume that you're like, you have the worst intentions. Don't give them any more reason to believe so. And I think for people our age, just kind of be more considerate of like the community and like who may be affected by what they're doing.
Just enjoy yourself. You're there to enjoy yourself. Just don't be, an idiot about it. Even if you're kicking about the street, if you just have your hood down and stuff, it just shows a bit more of a friendlier approach. If you've got more of like an open attitude and you're walking down with more of like an open posture and you're not like hiding away, like crouched down and walking towards them like that, it opens it up a bit more. We're here to make a difference. We're not here to, like ruin it for them. We're not here to make their lives a misery. We're here to help them.
The weather has been quite lovely and you're not wanting to be stuck in the house. You're wanting to be out with your friends, having a laugh, making like memories for yourself. They're shouting and screaming just because they think it's funny or they'll get a bit of attention from it. I know I'm not doing something wrong, but would someone else like find this like upsetting, or would this be like hurting someone else in my community?
I suppose when you're discussing antisocial behaviour, you really have to start saying to them, who is that going to affect? I hate to use the word consequences, but I'm going to mention it here by saying we've got to know who is that going to affect. It could be somebody's granny or granddad or whoever that lives nearby. It's a difficult one, isn't it? But we've got to make sure they realise there is somebody affected by that. The police are not there to spoil somebody's fun. We're not there to spoil anything. We have to make sure that we're protecting other members of the public too.
So our message to everyone, young and old, is be kind, be respectful, and remember that your actions have consequences. Make positive choices that strengthen your community and help everyone to feel safe. If you know or suspect who is committing serious antisocial behaviour that risks lives, like setting deliberate fires or violence, you can speak up 100% anonymously at fearless.org.
It's a really important part of life, is mucking about with your mates and chatting, and it's important to remember that.
Be fearless in being the best person that you can be.